But nonetheless, I think very, very excited about this collaboration with ONDC. I think one of the largest, biggest initiative that the government has come up with as far as e-commerce is concerned. And considering that today in our community we have 4,000 plus Make in India brands, right? What better opportunity for us as brands and service providers, to leverage this entire ecosystem. Considering that ONDC is in the interest of everyone, right? Whether it is a service provider, a buyer app, a seller app, or a brand. I think, and at the end, of course, the consumer as well, right? We've seen multiple articles of late around, how the charges have been different, on ONDC as compared to other marketplaces. So I think it's a win-win situation for everyone. So it's extremely important that we all understand how does ONDC work and what does it take. And who better than we have with us Mr. Badrinath Mishra. Badrinath himself comes in from 14 years plus of experience working across marquee companies. I know Badrinath, when he was working at Snapdeal. I don't know, Badri, if you remember, but we used to coordinate a lot on the fashion category that time. Right?
I do.
So, we've all seen that journey, right? How did, e-commerce start in India, and, what was the e-commerce 1.0 with all marketplaces coming in, then, 2.0 with all, quick commerce, hyper local startups like Swiggy, Zomato coming up, EdTech, and then, now with e-commerce 3.0, which we call, with all the brands emerging. I think, exactly the right time when the ecosystem was poised to have a beautiful initiative like ONDC. So that's where we are, guys. And Badrinath, thank you so much for doing this. I think we are all very, very thankful as a community, for enabling this workshop for us. I would not take a lot of your time now, and I would, pass on the baton to you because the community is extremely excited to know more on ONDC.
Thank you, Siddhis, and a very warm welcome, everyone, making it a very successful event as it seems like. We'll keep it. I'm not interested in monologue. I'll take you through and make you understand what ONDC is, from its very concept to the benefits that you individually can aim for. In the second half of the discussion, we'll open the forum. I would request everyone to keep putting your questions on the chat so that we can take it at the end of the session. I mean, does that sound good, Siddhis?
Yes, absolutely. That's the right format.
Yeah. And my request would be stay focused. This is something which is revolutionizing. It is not a myth anymore. It's happening. We also didn't know that how it is going to shape, but now it is happening. Days were there where we have seen more than 1 lakh transactions happening on ONDC network. So this is no more just a concept, it's the reality. I'll take you through this. We'll try to take all possible questions which may arise after I speak, and I'll definitely try to answer it. If anything stays unanswered, Kshitij and I will come together, again arrange the similar kind of program, and we keep addressing your queries till you go live with ONDC and grow. So by saying that, let me start. This is ONDC, which stands for Open Network for Digital Commerce. And this is an initiative backed by Government of India to revolutionize digital commerce in India. As we all know, 2 decades of digital commerce in India has emerged as a huge potential for every seller to explore large audience segment, and for every buyer, it's a huge convenience and access as we speak. Now, ONDC's goal is to dramatically step change that penetration of e-commerce. Let's take a stock of what happened in last 20 years of evolution of e-commerce. In last 20 years, we know many brands evolved. In last 20 years, we know many startups evolved, new formats of e-commerce evolved. But what happened to the real India, which is Bharat? Less than 1% of the sellers in India are now only digitized. And if you see the demand side of it, it's around 6-7% of the total GMV or the total top line that comes across commerce comes from e-commerce. And also it is highly concentrated to urban areas. Now, what ONDC is going to solve for are actually backed by four large reasons why e-commerce adoption is a huge challenge for sellers. And one of them is limited choices for sellers to go online. What you can do if you have funds and if you have an efficiency, you can create a D2C website and sell. But as we know that a customer shops a basket, the customer doesn't shop unitary product majority of time, unless it is an iPhone. Okay. So to enrich that basket, then you being a brand owner, you go to the marketplaces and list. So as we know, there are only limited marketplaces which are giving great experience or right amount of reach for sellers to go online. You go to any segment, for example, consumer goods, there are two marketplaces. The third one is a challenge. If you go to taxi hailing, there are two marketplaces. If you go to food aggregation or online food delivery, definitely not sure about the third one, other than the last week news from Mumbai. So it's always a limited choice for sellers to go online. Now, the second biggest point is inability for retailers or sellers to set their own terms. Here we're talking about the term of the trade. If it is not your own D2C website, you are in the whims and fancy of the buying application or the marketplace who dictate the terms of trade. You only have to say yes or no. Third is, if you see discoverability, if you are on a particular application and there is a customer on the same application, then only your products or your catalog is visible to that customer. In order to go for another set of customer, you have to register with another marketplace or another large platform. Now, everybody or every company, I'm sure, can do it, can stitch the entire value chain by creating the catalog, by acquiring customers. But is it viable? Because customer acquisition is a huge cost. We all know that how this marquee marketplaces or e-com portals are created and what kind of loss they're incurring. So it's not viable. It's possible, but it's not viable. So four large apprehensions or bottlenecks which are holding back participation is limitation in terms of choice to go online. It's only your D2C website or marketplaces. Terms of trade is always commanded by the marketplace. Discoverability is limited to the platform that you are on for your customers, and unviable proposition of creating and maintaining the entire value chain. Now, how ONDC is trying to solve it? They're trying to solve it with two principles. One is called unbundling, other one is interoperability. So we all know what is unbundling. Unbundling is nothing new, but unbundling is decentralization of different functions. Like if you call a customer care of a bank, the bank employees do not receive a call. It's a BPO or a business process outsourcing company that receives a call. What banks have done here? Banks have unbundled the customer care to a BPO, which is more efficient with respect to performance and cost. If you see the car that you drive, your car doesn't manufacture the tire it uses, right? The tire is manufactured by somebody else. The car company can, of course, manufacture the tires, but cost and quality would matter. So they have outsourced the tires to somebody else, and it's always there. It has always been there. We call it unbundling. If you talk about interoperability, that how different components are working together. So they seamlessly work together. For example, if you use a SIM card of a particular company to do calls on your mobile phone, you know that that SIM card can call another company's number effortlessly because these two companies are interoperable over the mobile network. So now unbundling and interoperability are always there in different segments and different companies and different situations. It never happened in e-commerce. E-commerce somehow has remained very, very proprietary. E-commerce somehow has remained very vertical oriented. The same organization trying to explore the products, the same organization trying to explore the supply side and customer acquisition and retention. Now, I'll give you another example of how unbundling and interoperability works. I mean, we all know email, right? Kshitij from his Gmail ID can always write an email to me on my Yahoo email ID without realizing that, hey, whether these two companies are and two different tech stacks will be interoperable or not, but they are interoperable because they follow the same protocol of SMTP. When Kshitij writes, it always writes x@y.z, right? It's the same format. There is a to, there is a CC, there is a BCC, there is a subject, and there is a body of email. And this all comprises, and it's absolutely standard in every email with every email client. So unbundling and interoperability has always been there. Now, what ONDC has done, ONDC has used a protocol called Beacon Protocol, which is again made in India protocol, and now it's with ONDC. ONDC has unbundled three major sides of the business. And those three major sides are the buying side, the selling side, and the logistics side. I'll take you through in detail. Let's understand how it happens in normal scenario, in the current scenario, or in a platform model. The first set of actions where the customer is on the application and searching for product, building a cart, doing browsing, and checking out. This is all buyer side activities. Okay. When the order is confirmed, the order fulfillment, the returns, cancellation, even the listing or the catalog management everything is seller side, activities. And if it is a physical product to be delivered, there has to be an order delivery, and it is logistics side activity. Now, every platform performs these three activities on a proprietary model and over a proprietary protocol, which is owned by the platform. Everything happens by the same entity on a platform. And if there are two different platforms, of course, these two sets of actions or three sets of actions are not discoverable by these two platforms because they're two separate platforms. What happens with ONDC? The same buyer-oriented activities, seller-oriented activities, and logistics-oriented activities are now also interoperable, but they can be performed by three different applications. So a buyer application can manage, I'll take you through who can be a buyer application, who can be a seller application, what are the advantages, I'll take you through. But just for your fundamental understanding, searching of a product, browsing, building a cart, applying promotions, and creating a confirmed order can be managed by a different set of applications on ONDC protocol. Catalog management, order management, return and cancellation, everything can be managed by a separate set of applications called seller applications, and logistics can be managed by separate set of applications called logistics applications. And these three applications can actually work with each other, and it can invite multiple players in each application to interact with each other and complete the value chain. If you see, as I said, multiple retail applications, multiple buyer applications can interact with multiple seller applications and vice versa. So let's take an example of a buyer application where we're talking any buyer or a customer goes to an application or a website and looks for product and checks out with a confirmed order. This is buyer side activity. So this buyer side activity can actually interact with seller side activity and logistics side activity, which are managed by different players on ONDC protocol. Similarly, a seller side activities like catalog management, order fulfillment, returns and cancellation can interact with multiple buying applications and multiple logistics applications to complete the value chain. Equally, logistics application can interact with multiple buyer and seller application to complete the value chain. Now, what happens? Multiple buyer applications and multiple seller applications, multiple logistics applications become interoperable on ONDC protocol and can discover each other. So, for example, if Kshitij and I use two different buyer applications called buyer application A and buyer application B. In ONDC context, it may be Paytm and PIN code. Then any of you, if you are a seller application A, if you are on ONDC, at the same time, you are visible on both the buyer applications. With a single registration on ONDC, you are visible on both the buyer application. Kshitij and Badri can shop from their choiceable buyer application, and you receive the order being a seller side entity. Now, as we speak, ONDC as a network has 10 different buyer applications like Paytm, Magic Pin, Kotak Mahindra Bank, IDFC, PIN code, and we are talking about more than 100 million potential buyers active today. And there are 29 different seller applications have brought 35,000 plus sellers and more than 38 lakh products onto the network. And all these products are available on all these buyer applications democratically. Now there are 7 logistics applications which are available on the network. If any seller application requires better price or higher coverage, these logistics applications can come into play and help them bridge that gap. Let me show you ONDC pipeline. More than 40 applications across different nodes, selling, buying, and logistics are under integration. More than 3,000 different companies are now talking to us, and they are going live. They're going to start their integration very soon. Now, what you can do, you can just, being a seller, I believe most of you have catalog, have products or services. So you qualify to be a seller side of entity on ONDC. What you need to do, you can just plug into ONDC. I'll also tell you briefly with the presentation how to integrate. You can just plug in with ONDC, showcase your catalog, and you are visible on all ONDC compliant buyer applications. So you focus on your own business, and ONDC solves the entire puzzle of reaching to the customer and growing your business. Now, this is a schematic diagram on your screen. If you can see, there are multiple buyer applications, multiple seller applications can come together and complete a transaction. ONDC network enables them with this unbundling and interoperability, and also helps them maintaining their registry, their policies, the reputation ledger. I'll tell you what is a reputation ledger later in the next slides, and also helps them, supports like issues and grievance management, supports like reconciliation and settlement. This I would like to say. Now, if you go to, so these are some buying applications which are available. As we are aiming that your product should go live on ONDC and you grow with the network, I would request you to go to any of these buying applications. So Paytm, PIN code, and most of them are absolutely available in Bangalore for shopping. You can do your orders, real orders or dummy orders, and see how it is happening. Now, network so we call them network participants. For example, if you join as a seller side entity, we'll call you seller network participant. So a seller network participant or any network participant can play multiple roles. Sometimes you may like to showcase your products, become a seller. And when you opt for logistics, then you become a logistics buyer, where the logistics players become the seller. So this protocol of ONDC allows you at the same time to become a seller of your own goods and buyer of different services to start with logistics on the network. We are also coming up with catalog as a service. So for example, any retail store or Kirana store do not need to create a fresh catalog every time, because many products are standardized, and if catalog as a service can be available on the network, it's very easy for them to go live with the right kind of content. As we speak, food and beverages, grocery, home decor, electronics, fashion, beauty and personal care, agri B2C, and mobility are live on ONDC. Wholesale and B2B, health and wellness, financial services, and different kind of services are on the way to go live on ONDC. So I'll tell you what ONDC would look like to our customer. Let's see that today with the current context, a customer can continue with their own favorite application, mobile application or website, which is ONDC compliant and shop. In future, it is going to add another layer of convenience and ease. For example, if from Delhi, I want to be shifted to Kerala so my company puts me to Kerala for a 1-year assignment, for example. I definitely need a suitcase to pack my stuff. I need flight tickets to go to Kerala. As I'm going to stay there, so I need a service apartment to stay in Kerala. And as I'm going to interact with the locals there, I'm keen to learn basic Malayalam language. Now, today, how I do it, I probably go to 4 different applications and platforms, and even more, so that I compare cost, I compare efficiency, and then I check out. I do 4 checkouts at least. In the future, ONDC is going to enable it for me in a real convenient way. I can actually add products and services to the single card because everything is available on the same network and check out. So every comparison, every time waste that I normally do outside comparing for the price and efficiency, I don't need to do that outside. It's all available on the network. For a buyer, it's always convenience of single platform, accessing all kinds of products. And it's also access to all kind of seller in each domain, because I don't need to go for specific sellers on specific applications. It's all available in my own application. It's definitely unified experience and definitely a large and wider variety or options for price and add-ons. Hyperlocal is faster. So ONDC's one of the objective is to enable hyperlocal with its maximum efficiency. People have adopted a lot. You remember, it started with quick shopping around food and beverages, and we are massively doing shopping of every amenity that is available hyperlocally. And of course, in the future, because there will be different buying applications addressing to buyers, the experience of buying is going to be the key differentiator. Somebody may ask, why Paytm, why not PIN code, or why not any other application? So it's the buyer's comfort and convenience, which application that he or she looks for and continues to keep using. So ONDC looks for a future where buying experience is going to be a key differentiator. Ultimately, it will be beneficial for the buyers. For sellers, which is more important for you, with a single registry, you are discoverable by the entire buying universe. I showed you different applications, 10 different applications on all applications, and you have to just register once. Second is the audience is very large. Today, as we speak, more than 100 million users are there on the network, empowered by these buying applications, are waiting for your products. Third would be very low cost of access to complete the value chain, because you continue focusing on your own products. The logistics can be taken care by the logistics companies. The buying can be taken care by the buying applications or the buyer applications. And you have complete autonomy on the term of trade. If any buyer application asks you for X percentage of commission and you don't want to do that, then you do not reply to or do not respond to the any buyer applications query on products. So, and definitely when everything is controlled, so what all you can control is the commission or the buy for the buyer application. You can control the pricing. It's always your pricing. Whatever pricing you say, every buyer application has to follow the same price. They can change or modify the price. You can control on the return window. What is your suitable return window of the product in case it is returned? You can always control the settlement period. Like, hey, I want a delivery. 2 days after my return window is over, or on the same day of my return window is over. So it's absolutely in your control. Now, if you have right control and you are not trying to solve the entire value chain, definitely it's increased profitability. And being on the network, there is a huge opportunity to have very good insight to first party data, because order will come and flow to you to fulfill majority of time if you want to fulfill your on your own. So you have access to first party data, and definitely it means a lot of good analytics for to grow your business. I was talking about reputation. Reputation is, this now it is a phenomenon that we don't know all sellers who sell online, right? One of the biggest criteria of choosing or going for a seller is the rating and review of that particular product or particular seller. What happens in a classic world of marketplaces or large platforms? If you are a good seller, selling good products with right experience, then you are rated high. You can be rated as 5 out of 5. But the moment you go to another buying application or a platform, you start from the scratch. You did everything possible to make your rating very high, and now you are confident that you can go to the second application. You have to start from scratch because this rating cannot be ported to the another application. On ONDC, the reputation is network wide. The rating is network wide. So every buyer application will show the same rating that you have earned through your performance. Now we all know what is this intermediation is. If you do well and these big marketplaces and platforms, they always try to because they have all insights. They always try to figure out how they can bring in same product, same quality at a better price, and start pushing those products for higher visibility, push them to the first page and first couple of rows, and they get maximum benefit. On network, it is not possible. On network, every buying application has to show the same products. Of course, they can always choose how they show it, but they have to declare if it is close to the buyer's point. If it is by the rating. If it is some other logic, they need to declare it and show it, but they can't disintermediate, or they don't do any artificial elevation of products. Now, we also have an entity called technology companies. Technology companies are those entities when you do integration. These companies can help you to make you a seller application. So for them, the opportunity is, and this goes for all tech companies, they can always maximize their value of technology by being ONDC compliant and help network participants to onboard on ONDC. And they can always do it at a larger geography across India. And that means it's very quick time to scale for them. Now, what is ONDC? Just to reiterate, it's not an application, it's not a platform or a product. I mean, you cannot open ondc.org, which is our website, and start shopping. It is a network. It is a capability or an infrastructure. And it enables different buying applications to take care of their buyers. It enables different sellers and selling applications to take care of their catalog, inventory, and pricing. It enables different logistics applications to do a quality delivery. And ONDC is not a single model. With an open network, there is an opportunity to explore different models of commerce. So ONDC, we see it's a concept of infinite models, and it will keep evolving. Like you can always, if you have a store, you can, being on ONDC, you can just start getting visible to the people nearby your store. If your products can travel intercity, then you can also put your products on ONDC, which can be bought by different buyers available in intercity. If you want to do a certain geofencing or a certain area geography for action, then you can always geofence and do that action with that hyperlocal system. Infinite models can be possible on ONDC. ONDC is not a central intermediary. Rather, it eliminates any central intermediary. Our aim is to help you get your customers directly. Of course, a buying application is required to bring the customer to you. It's not a regulator. We don't regulate anything. We say that law of the land should prevail. We are a market and community-led initiative. You people, when you join ONDC, you are going to drive and define how the market and community is going to evolve. ONDC is a truly made in India digital revolution supported by the government. There is a very strong advisory council comprising of major icons from the industry are guiding us for the growth of India, how we can create a population scale inclusion of sellers and buyers. We started in June 2021 with just the advisory council established by Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. And August 2021, we created a national rollout plan. And December is the month when the integration and testing of different network participants started. December 21, ONDC got registered as a Section 8 company. A Section 8 company is a non-profitable company. And March 2022 is the month where ONDC network went live with first cohort or group of participants from buying, selling side. April 2022, the first transaction that happened on ONDC was in Bengaluru. Somebody's terrace garden, a hand of coriander leaves got delivered. Somebody ordered and it got delivered. And from June to September, we tried expanding ONDC to different cities and added new categories. We had a beta launch in Bangalore in September 2022. And as we speak today we have, as I've shown you, various categories are active. So in mobility, Kochi, a taxi community is active in Kochi, auto community is active in Bangalore. They're using ONDC protocol and without paying any commission to any big players, they are running more than 33,000 rides every day in Kochi and Bangalore together. In retail, if you talk about food and beverages, grocery, fashion, home, ONDC buying applications started clocking more than 11,000 orders every day now. ONDC is available with 35,000 sellers, 44 lakh products. The two cities where Bangalore and Meerut are beta live, they are deeply penetrated. 236 cities are in Alpha Live. Alpha Live means people can actually discover some products on ONDC and shop. Now, there are three ways how you can join as a seller application. I'll talk about a seller application first. And to reiterate, who can be a seller application? If you have or any entity has catalog backed by inventory, can become a seller application, or if you have a capability to consolidate catalog and bring in different sellers, you can also become a seller application. Now, in order to join ONDC, there are three ways for a seller to join ONDC. One moment. So, as a seller, there are three ways you can join ONDC. One, on any existing seller application, you can just become a seller. That means your catalog can be exposed on their application and they can help you be visible on different buying applications. B, you can yourself become a seller application by doing your own tech integration. If you have a tech capability, ONDC has different APIs exposed for seller side. You need to consume those APIs and do a technological integration to become a seller application. Third way, you can also become a seller application, not by utilizing your own tech bandwidth, rather going for a technology service provider who will give you a white label solution to make you a seller application. The advantage of becoming a seller application is you don't need to pay commission to the seller application anyone. I mean, you yourself is a seller application. But the advantage of us just being a seller is it's quick on ONDC and you don't need to create, manage, and maintain the technology product of a seller application. It's you pay certain percentage and you are live. So you can just become a seller on existing seller applications. You can become a seller application by doing your own technology. You can become a seller application by with a white label solution provided by tech service providers, which are complied by ONDC. All this information are available on ondc.org website under the tab Network Participants. It's available there. You can go through that. And so if you want to become a seller, you can just go to the ondc.org website and choose any seller application you want to talk to. There are many. You can write them an email. And they will revert back. You decide your own terms and conditions with them and go live immediately. Normally they charge 4 to 6%. I'll give you a cost comparison also. 4 to 6% includes their commission, seller application commission, and a buyer application commission. Because when the buying applications are going to get you confirmed order, then they will also charge something. I'll tell you. So these are the buying applications. If Paytm gives you an order, you also need to pay 3 to 4% to Paytm and 2 to 3% to that seller application who has got you here. So in total, your outgo is 4 to 6% currently, as we can see. And ONDC doesn't control this pricing or doesn't control these margins. It's buyer application who sells the margin. It's seller application who talks to you and responds to the margin. So that is the premise. And just to give you a clarity, because before we go to questions, many questions, the buyers are linked to these buyer applications. For example, Badri is a Paytm customer and Kshitiz is a Kotak Mahindra Bank customer. So we'll continue using Kotak and Paytm and we'll discover your catalog, which is either you have brought in being a seller application, or you have gone through all these seller applications on the bottom of the slide, like a GoFrugal, eSamuday, eVital, Bizom, uEngage. Now, if you see, Snapdeal has also become a seller application. They have brought a lot of products onto the network. UShop is by Unilever. So they have become an inventory seller application. That means they are going to sell only their products. Similarly, it goes for Wow Skin Science. Wow, this beauty product brand, they have become a seller application and they are starting selling their own products. ITC has become a seller application and sells ITC products through themselves. And other than these three, they all are marketplace seller applications. That means you can become a seller on them. And they will help you push your catalog to ONDC. And ONDC, normally what happens, all these buying applications who are integrated with ONDC, they can showcase your catalog. Now, another benefit for you would be, for example, you do not have delivery facility or you have very limited PIN code coverage. Then these logistics applications will help you on the go, bridge that gap of more coverage or helping you out in delivery. Now, let me start taking questions.
Thank you so much, Badrinath.
Yeah.
I think indeed quite detailed and a very simplified presentation around how ONDC works. I think this is what we were looking for, considering that, as I said, right, wonderful initiative, so much of value addition for all of us, but, unclear on how to make the right utilization of this platform. So I think today, when we go back, I think we all go back with an idea that, okay, what ONDC is and how is it going to help us. I'll quickly jump into questions because
Yeah.
we have a lot of them. So the first one is by Aditi Hingu. She owns a brand called Neemayu. So her question
Okay.
is that we have just listed on ONDC and we need to help to understand the system better. Can we connect with a category manager or equivalent at ONDC, please?
So let's ask. I'll share my email ID with you, Kshitiz.
Sure.
I would ask Aditi to send me an email,
Mm-hmm.
and how even so, if they have listed on ONDC, they would have gone through any of the seller application.
Mm-hmm.
Which seller application they have gone through. So just help me with that information, and I'll help her out.
Perfect.
Yeah.
The second one is, if I don't have a physical and I manage the business from home, if I don't have a physical store and I manage the business from home, can I list on ONDC?
So guys, anything that can be cataloged and allowed to be sold online. For example, like liquor is not allowed to be sold online, right? Prescription drugs have their own limitations. So, but anything which can be cataloged and can be sold online, allowed to be sold online, it can be listed on this.
The next one, I think you've already answered. Can a company be both on a seller node and a buyer node for services?
Yes, yes,
Marketplace typically allows both.
yes,
Right?
yes.
What happens when you are on more than one seller app?
Oh, so very interesting question. Like, so if you, so the entire concept of ONDC is to make life easier for you. If you're on any of the seller app, you are visible on all buyer application. Is there a merit to be on more than one seller app? We don't see any merit. It will just be duplicate listing and a noise.
So essentially, it is a single platform to enable you across all the other apps. So there is no
Yeah, just hop
merit.
onto any seller app. Democratically, you are visible on all buying applications.
Got it. I don't know how relevant, but I think one more question is: does the seller side sync with own website?
No, this is a very interesting question. I mean, if you have your own website and you have your set processes of order management, catalog management, fulfillment, then yes, that can be synced with any of the seller application. They will help you out by syncing your not the front end of the website, but the back end of the website, where the catalog and inventory lies.
Got it. How do buyer side apps decide the order of listings?
So buyer side apps has their own algorithm. As I say, they can have a proximity algorithm. For example, if you are searching from Koramangala, then all the stores near to Koramangala would appear, but they should declare that, hey, this is proximity algorithm. It should be visible somewhere. And if they have a rating algorithm, then high rating products should be visible there. It's it's absolutely buyer applications prerogative. How do they do the order of listing?
Got it. The next question I think might be a little early, but I'll still take that. The question is, what percentage is grocery buying on ONDC? I want to understand the industry which sells the most on ONDC.
So I'll tell you, grocery. So if ITC is there, Unilever is there, and we have more than more than 3,000 grocery stores which are also live through different seller applications. Uh, Currently, the grocery percentage is major two categories are selling other than the mobility, which is food and delivery and grocery. Grocery contributes to one third, around 30% of grocery orders are grocery orders on ONDC. Industry, large brands like ITC and HUL are there. Kirana stores are there. Star Bazaar, which is Tata Star Bazaar, is going live. GeoMart is under integration. So everybody who's selling grocery are literally going to be on ONDC.
Got it. Very interesting question. What about
Hmm.
customer complaint mechanism? So how does customer file issues and who will take responsibility of fixing customer problems?
So it doesn't change with the current practice. I mean, as I repeatedly said, buyers or customers are linked to the buyer applications. Where you shop, you raise your complaint there only. Now the buying application or the buyer application through ONDC protocol, we'll keep routing the complaints to seller applications and they resolve and give you an answer. But the buyer only needs to coordinate with the buying application.
Got it. So apart from,
Somebody else?
I'll take 2-3 more questions. Badri, we'll just extend by 5 minutes if that is okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That should be fine. Yeah.
So the next one is, how can ONDC ensure buyer apps don't launch their products or artificially promote them within buyer apps like marketplaces too? So I think this is more around, marketplaces having their own private labels and they end up pushing that. So how does ONDC kind of ensure that, buyer apps don't launch their own products or artificially promote their within their buying apps?
So ONDC's entire concept is democratization. If anybody doesn't, and everybody has to, every application on ONDC has to sign a contract with ONDC. We call it Network Participants Agreement. If they do not obey that contract, then ONDC always has an eye. We are not regulator, but we are keeping an eye on who is not adhering to the contract, and we'll definitely take action. Don't worry.
Got it. I think another interesting one from Sarvesh, he's asking that one of the problems currently in marketplaces is closed availability of user data. As user platform data is owned by the marketplace, they dictate product listings and visibility at times, right? Is there any tackling of this in ONDC? Like, do we get any access?
I'll tell you. So, Sarvesh, I told that during my talk, first party data access is entirely with the seller now. Because you will deliver, unlike the marketplaces, you will get the buyer's name, number, email ID, address, which you can always utilize later. And not only that, if you become a seller application, and always you can request your own seller application, if you are just a seller, to give you search data. There is a lot of rich search data also happening on the network. That can also give you a lot of insight that what kind of product, what are the attributes, and where it is being searched with what frequency. So in open network, all this data is available with the seller.
So I think the way to look at it is it's a pseudo D2C website, but you are at the same time leveraging the consumer base of all these buyer apps, right? Essentially, and paying a lower commission as well.
Absolutely. If you go live, 100 million customers are today they are live.
Right. I think it's a huge potential, right? Because and I think even today the early adopters will get even more benefited because let's say, today not everybody would have moved to ONDC. So if you're an early adopter, you might get more visibility. The way it happened 8-10 years back, right, where marketplaces are not too cluttered and brands who used to go live used to immediately receive sales, right? So I think going early now is something that should be a key focus area, in my opinion.
Correct. Now, Mayank is saying, can I get the presentation? I'll share the link with Kshitij. It is an open presentation. Every Tuesday, we do this session. So you can always join. I'll share this presentation link. You can always access the updated presentation. Abhishek is saying some seller apps are asking for one-time cost of listing besides margin. Is that normal? So we don't come into their picture, their negotiation. You can always try some other seller applications and give them a comparison. We can also create our own brand seller application like Wow and UShop. Yes, you can do that. UPI replaced cash. What will ONDC replace? ONDC is not going to replace anything. ONDC is going to add more momentum and acceleration to e-commerce trade. So every application and every platform that you see, they have huge potential to join ONDC and explore the other part of the business. Like for example, the top marketplace, if they join as a seller application, they get access to more customers. If they join as a buying application, they get access to more catalog. It's benefit for all. It's not replacing anything, but yes, it is going to add a lot of momentum. Any other questions?
So I think, Badrinath, we have a lot more. I was just scrolling through the list while you were speaking. So I think that the community is extremely inquisitive about ONDC. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and collate these questions, right?
So we'll discuss and we'll share. Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, and maybe I'll guys, what we'll do is we'll come back with some structured way in which these questions can get answered. today, in the interest of time, I think we're already running above the time. So let us discuss some format in which the remaining questions can get answered and come back to you. But rest assured, we'll try to get most of these answered in some structured format.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah. Perfect. I think thank you so much, Badrinath. It was lovely talking to you and knowing a lot more about ONDC. I extremely grateful that this happened, and a lot more things are in plate between both of us. To try and democratize e-commerce in India. So I think
Correct.
for the community, I think we will do a lot more. So stay tuned, guys, and we'll come back with more sessions, more workshops around what can be done around ONDC. And also we'll share with you the presentation. We'll share with you guys the the email ID of Badrinath, so that if you want to reach out for any particular questions, you all can do that. And also we'll come back on a way to solve these questions in a structural format. So I think that's about it from us, guys. Thank you so much again, Badrinath. I will be in touch with you, and we will take this relationship forward from here.
Thank you so much, Shitiz. Let's have a chat
Yeah.
after the session. I have just put a link to this presentation on the chat, so everybody can copy that and keep it.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right.
Cool.
Thank you so much. Have a
Thank you
nice
so
day.
much, Shitiz. Wonderful audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you.